Hi my friend, it's Đức Trần. In this video, I would love to share with you how to build this amazing cool effect, this Pinterest newsfeed that we see all over the web, and a lot of developers ask me how to do this. We are going to use something we call a collection view, but we will not use the default collection view. Rather, we're going to customize it to create a very sophisticated, I think, UI like this, right? You have two columns of items, and each of the column will have cells, right? We have the post, we have the photos and the text, but look at what happened to each of the photo. The size, the height of the photo is different. In other words, we have dynamic height of the photo. How can we do that? Let's do it in this video. In this training, I'm going to share with you how to do that. And to break it down, how to do all of this, how to build this thing from scratch, we are not going to set up the collection view because I already have a training for you how to do that, right? So rather, I'm going to share with you how to customize something we call a UI collection view layout. And that is the 6 steps I have here for you on how to do that, how to create this cool Pinterest newsfeed. So number 1, download your starter project right below this video. Right below this video, there will be a link for you to download the starter project. There, I prepare for you a lot of resources, a lot of already customized code already written for us, so that we don't have to waste our time in writing the collection view, preparing the images. We have a lot of images like all of those stuff already create for you. All I have to do right now is to focus on how we can customize this thing, right? So let me go ahead and I will change, how about the bundle identifier here into Pinterest demo like this, and Pinterest demo, so that I can run this thing and we will not lose our final project, the complete project over here. So we see what is the starter project looks like. Again, download, you will have a link right below this video. You can download it right now, okay? So here is the starter project, right? When we go into starter project, it's just a very simple, looks like a table view, but it's actually a collection view, because when it goes into the main storyboard, goes to main storyboard like this, and you will scroll and you'll see the first tab over here, right? The first tab, you'll see that we have a collection view over here, right? A collection view. And this collection view, I just put in a cell with an images and labels and those stuff. Very simple. It's very simple for you to create this thing. And in the newsfeed collection view controller.swift, we just implement a bunch of posts, which is a model class. There's no networking over here, so that we can focus on the UI alone, right? And then here we set the item size of the collection view to be a dummy item size 200 by 300. We will change that into dynamic height later on, right? And then we implement the collection view data source, number of items in the section, number of how does a cell look like for each of the cells, each of the item. That's all. That is all the starter project is about. Now let's go into the main part. How can we create that layout? Now many of you know that collection view is very much like table view, right? Table view is kind of like the standard in iOS development. So whenever we create apps, we think of very complex app that we display a bunch of things and a lot of things. We use table view or collection view, right? Now table view and collection view is very simple in terms that they separate the data and the interaction, right? We have a data source and a delegate object. The data source, we have to tell it what are our data that we have to display, right? The delegate is like, okay, I tap onto one item on one cell. What are you going to do with that? That is the data source and delegate, the very similar things in collection view and table view. But the collection view is different from the table view because the collection view allows you to customize a separate object the hidden object. And this object is something we call a UI collection view layout. We have a different layout object because the collection view, you can display it as a grid of things or as columns of things like this, or can bubbles of things that float around, right? Or in another training, we have the carousel effect that you can scroll left and right that you see in Instagram or in the App Store. Those kind of stuff is all about collection view. But whenever we want to create those things, we have to customize this layout object, meaning that how is each of the item layout or displayed inside the collection view? Do you want the layout to be horizontal? Do you want it to be vertical? Do you want to each of the cell to be animating or anything that you want to do? That is the layout object. So number one, after we download the Star project, number two, let's create something we call a Pinterest layout class. This is going to subclass UI collection view layout, and this will be the layout class, the layout object for us to create this Pinterest effect. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over the views group over here. I'm going to right click and create a new file. And over here, let's create a class called, which is a subclass of UI collection view layout like this. And let's name this thing UI collection view layout. And let's name this thing Pinterest layout like this, right? And then we click next. We put it in, let's put it over here. Now, let's talk about this. Okay? Now, number one, why do we customize, why do we subclass UI collection view layout? Many of you know that the default layout object in collection view is not UI collection view layout. It is UI collection view flow layout, right? UI collection view flow layout like this. UI collection view flow layout. That is the default layout object of the collection view. So why do we have to customize, subclass this thing? Now, UI collection view flow layout, as it turns out that it is also a subclass of UI collection view layout. UI collection view layout is something we call an abstract class. Okay, this is very, very important for you to abstract. I believe that's how it's spelled. This is very important, especially when you go for interviews or coding challenges or in your interview or your clients, okay? It is an abstract class. What it means is that this is not a class, okay? I'm talking about the UI collection view layout. The abstract class, it is not a class for you to immediately or directly instantiate an instance from that class. Let me say that again, very important. An abstract class like UI collection view layout is not a class that is designed, that is created for you to directly create, for you to directly instantiate a new instance out of that class. Why is that? Well, it is not created for that purpose, number one. And number two is, think of this, right? Think of this. Now, think of this, an example, a dummy example, a silly example is, I am Henry Ford, right? I created a modern car. And so I created a class called car, right? A class called car. Now that car class only has things like 4 wheels, right? And then, four tires and a wheel, right? And then a roof, right? That is all that car class has. But now, if you allow someone to instantiate a direct instance out of that car class, then it will not create a concrete car. It doesn't make sense. That car doesn't work. Because now, if you are Elon Musk, you are a Tesla. If you want to create a Tesla car, then you have to add into that what is the color of the car, what are the buttons in the car, what are the displays in the car, what are the mechanics in the car, what are the engines in the car, right? You have to add more concrete things into that class, Tesla car. Right? That's why the car class is just a very generic, very abstract, we call it abstract class. It is not to create a direct instance out of that. You have to subclass that car into Tesla car to create an instance out of that Tesla car. The same over here, right? The UI collection view layout, it just have the abstract things, general things. If it is not to create a direct instance. You have to subclass like Pinterest layout to override some other methods to provide more information like the attribute of each of the cell, how about the layout of each of the item, those kind of things. It's the same for UI collection view layout, flow layout. It also subclasses the things and then overrides some methods, overrides some properties so that we know how the collection view knows how to lay out stuff. Okay, makes sense? Very important. Abstract class. Okay, very important.